I'm very, very excited about. I don't have much of a life.
Това е един от препаратите, които изработихме скоро и съм доста вдъхновен от постигнатото.
This is another one. This is one for Friday. So this is the sternocleidomastoid.
Това е стерноклейдомастоидния мускул.
And this is the scalp fascia, the Gallia aponeurotica.
Да, това е галея поневротика, която виждате отгоре.
Gallia aponeurotica. See, I can say that.
It's all right.
So instead of saying that the sternocleidomastoid stops at the mastoid process, now we have to understand that it continues on a fascial level, we'll explain fascia a bit more, a fascial level into the scalp.
Тоест стерноклейдомастовидния мускул не спира на мастовидния израстък, а продължава нагоре в фасцията. Това е, което се опитвам да ви убедя и все пак да ви накарам да разберете.
This structure starts to look at things like dementia, Parkinson's, position of the head, flexion of the head, and where it is in relation to the first thoracic spine. Okay. Special prize for anybody who can tell me what this is.
Ако някой ми каже коя тази структура, ще има награда.
I guarantee that if you've all had your hands on it in the last week.
Допускам, че всеки един от вас го е докосвал поне веднъж през последната седмица.
This is the long head of the biceps femoris.
Това е дългата глава на бицепс феморис.
But actually it should, if you look at the anatomical chart, it should stop at the ischial tuberosity. It should stop here.
Според анатомичните таблици спира на туберозата си исхи.
But it doesn't. It doesn't stop here.
Но то не спира.
And what it does is it continues into sacrotuberous ligament.
Но всъщност той продължава до сакротубералния лигамент.
So what this does is this now models the hamstring as a massive stabilizer for the whole of the lower back and the pelvis.
Тоест той се явява основен стабилизатор не само на таза, но и на долната част на гръбнака.
So this is my party trick. If you invite me to a party, I end up doing this.
Това се получава, ако ме поканите на парти.
I don't go to many parties.
Затова не ме кана толкова често.
So yeah, hamstrings in terms of sport, hamstrings as far as lower back is concerned, hamstrings as far as the abdomen is concerned. So sacrum, all these things.
Така че мускулите, които стабилизират тялото, са тези, които се опитвам да покажа в момента.
So this is now the hamstring lifted up, and you can see the bone underneath.
Може да видите костта след като подигна сухожилния скрипец над него.
Continuous. Just an idea of how we can remodel some of our muscular thinking. Muscles don't really work in the way that we think they work, and I'll explain why in a minute.
Ще обясня защо смятам, че мускулите работят по различен начин от този, който сме обучени.
This is a man who's given his name to the therapy that we do, a man called Tom Bowen, born in 1916 and died in 1982, lived in Victoria, Australia.
Това е Том Боуен, роден в Виктория, Австралия, починал през 1982.
His wife Jessie lived until 1994, but she never met a Bowen therapist, which is interesting. She never met anybody that did Bowen after Tom was dead.
Въпреки че жена му живя до 1994, тя никога така и не се наложи да посети терапевт, практикуващ неговите техники.
Tom taught 5 men one morning a week. He never called it the Bowen technique. He never called it advanced Bowen or anything else. He just did this thing that he did, and he taught a few guys what he was doing.
По време на само една сутрин седмично, никога не е наричал техниката си техника на Боуен, никога не е наричал напредничава или развита.
And he was, by his own guessing, he was doing 13,000 treatments a year. So 35 in the morning, 35 in the afternoon, 60, 70 every single day.
Тоест общия брой на лекуваните от него е надхвърлял 13 000 за година.
I don't do that many. Okay, so I'm going to run you through some of the principles of Bowen a little bit. First of all, we have something called the move, the Bowen move. This is what refers it. Who does massage, please? If you put your hands up.
Кой от вас се занимава с масаж?
Deep tissue massage. You put lots of pressure on, yeah?
Дълбок тъканен масаж.
Yeah, you love that.
Обичате го, нали?
really hurts. It's supposed to hurt. And at the end of the day, you're like this.
В края на работния ден вие се чувствате съсипани, изтощени.
You don't want to go out dancing, you want to lie and a bit, my hands hurt. We don't have that. So the move itself is very light, it's very gentle, and it consists of 3 parts. There's 3 parts of the move. Skin slack, pressure, and the rolling type, or disturbing move. All right, so I want you to imagine that you've got glue on your fingers, super glue.
Представете си, че имате синьо на върха на пръстите си. И ти каже, лепил, извинете, glue.
And you're going to put this glue.
И си представете, че ще сложите това лепило.
Sorry, it's cool. Can you all hear me at back? Can you all hear me? Just for the moment. You're going to get the glue and you're going to stick the glue to the back of your hands.
Ако залепи това лепило на гърба на ръката си.
Fingers are now stuck on the back of your hands.
Пръстите са залепени в момента.
And you can now move the skin around on top of the underlying tissues.
Така можете да движите кожата над подлежащите тъкани.
But how much pressure do you need to apply? You don't need to apply any pressure at all to be able to move that skin around.
Но за да движите кожата не е необходимо да прилагате никакво напрежение, никакво налягане.
So this is called skin slack. We can get lots of different movement of skin slack around the body.
Ето това наричаме преместване на кожата. На много места това може да се постигне.
So we take skin slack in the opposite direction to the direction that we're going to make a move.
И правиме това преместване в посока противоположна на тази, на която ще направим движението.
And then we apply pressure. How much pressure do we apply? Well, we call this eyeball type pressure. The type of pressure you can apply to your eyeball comfortably.
Натискът, който упражняваме, е толкова голям, колкото бихме могли да направим върху окото си, без да ни заболи. Опитайте, сложете си пръста върху очната ябълка, натиснете толкова, че да не ви е дискомфортно. Натиснете и спрете тогава, преди да случи едно от двете неща.
If you found that this eye on the opposite side is now on your lap, then you press too hard.
Ако окото ви е долу между краката, сте натиснал силно.
Or if there's a popping sound from under your.
Или ако чуете припукване, това е твърде силен натиск.
So the type of pressure, not the same pressure, but the type of pressure is the type of pressure that says.
Тоест налягането върху кожата трябва да е подобно, сходно, като това, което прилагате върху окото, без да ви заболи.
I can feel movement underneath my fingers through the layers that I'm working on, but I'm not pressing hard. I'm sorry about that. I know you like to, but you don't need to. So you don't press hard. So it's skin slack. So you've got the skin slack.
Преместването на кожата.
Opposite direction to the move. Then we apply the pressure.
Тогава започваме да прилагаме напрежение.
In the direction that we're trying to move to make our move. And we roll and create disturbance on the underlying tissue. So we made a little disturbance, a little clip, a little plop.
И движиме тъканите в посока на тази, която искаме да стигнем, със съвсем лек натиск, докато усетиме звуков феномен.
My students in Holland call this a fluke.
Студентите в Холандия наричат това нещо преместване.
In Holland, when you want to make something little, you put a y on the end of it, so it goes a floop, floopje. When it's very small,
докато усетиш плёк.
Floopetje. So the move is not a flick, it's not a flick or a twang.
Тоест самото движение не е рязко, не е остро, не е силно.
It's a disturbance, it's a roll. It's quite, it looks, when you see it, it looks very, very simple. But it's quite complex to get right.
Всъщност, за да извършите движението си искат много умения, тъй е комплексно. Не е толкова просто, колкото изглежда.
Then we have another principle called the stoppers, and I'll explain those in a minute.
Другия принцип се нарича стопери и блокировачи.
And then we have a series of breaks. So this is even better. So when I explain to my clients, I say, what do you know about Bowen? And they say, I don't know much, and I say, well, I'm going to do very little, and in between doing very little, I'm going to do less, because I'm going to leave the room.
Това обяснявам и на моите пациенти и клиенти, дали знаят нещо за техниката, но ако те кажат, че не знаят нищо, най-вероятно аз също да напусна стаята.
And they pay me.
И те въпреки всичко ми плащат.
Каза, че той прави малко, дори когато след това ще напусна стаята, няма да прави нищо, между другото малко.
Мисля, че е ясен.
Ти преведе, че...
Аз съм лекарови, присъствам тук само за да помагам. Ако губа някъде смисъл, ако използвам думи, които вие знаете, аз не знам, ще ме извините. Нямам нищо против да ме прекъсвате. It was Bulgarian. We had to interpret in between.
Okay.
I never got the meaning, the original.
I was excited. I thought this man was asking a question.
No, he simply knows.
You were just having a chat.
I don't.
You were just having a chat. Thank you. So the stoppers, the breaks. I'll explain the stoppers in a minute. And we don't mix it with other treatments. We don't do massage and a bit of Bowen. We don't. Some people do, but that's cool. I don't mind. But I don't call it Bowen. So Bowen is these things.
Bowen са тези принципи, за които говоря. Това не е масаж.
I'm going to put the whole thing together in a minute, so don't panic if you haven't seen it.
Не се тревожете, ако сега не виждате смисъла. След малко всичко ще стане ясно.
So the stoppers work, if you understand that as humans we're curved all the way through the body to allow ourselves to walk upright in gravity.
Знаете, че гръбнака има извивки, които ни позволяват да ходим изправени.
Even when we were like this.
Дори когато сме наведени напред.
We still had lots of curves.
Все още има доста извивки в гръбнака.
And so when we have stress on a structure, we have a lot of pressure, a lot of stress loading, a lot of pressure.
Когато имаме много стрес върху гръбнака, той изпитва голямо напрежение.
And these stress loading points are generally on the curve. So if you imagine a piece of metal that's curved, this is where it's going to break if you bend it, this is where it's going to break if you bend it.
Ако си представите гръбнака като и направена стомана, на върха на извивката е място, където ще се получи изчупване от умора.
So the bottom stoppers are a massive place of energy. Now for lots of reasons. It's an area I dissect. I spend a lot of time with a scalpel in this area. Because it has many layers and lots of tension.
Тъй като разположените в ломбалния отдел стопери изпитват огромно напрежение, когато правят дисекции, там има толкова много слоеве, тъй като те трябва да поемат цялото това натоварване.
I would say that most knee pain comes from this area.
Бих казал, че огромна част от болките в коляното идват именно от тази област.
Most neck pain. A lot of pains that are away from the back pain will be starting in this area.
И доста от болките, от които се оплакват пациентите, също са именно тази област.
For more information, if you look on YouTube and you look up my name and you look up the poo speech, actually don't look up my name, just look up the poo speech, and I talk about this business about squatting.
В YouTube имам специален клип, в който говоря за клякането. Ако напишете моето име.
I was very excited today to see that you still have these toilets over here. I'll try one tomorrow, let you know how it goes. So we have two pairs of upper stoppers in the thoracic area, in the primary curve. So it goes primary curve, secondary curve, primary curve, all the way through. Some people call them blockers. I don't think blockers or stoppers is a good name. I think it's a bad name. I think they open and energize more than anything else.
Не смятам, че блокери или стопери са добри имена. Те по-скоро отварят.
All right, so how's it all working? What happens when we do a Bowen move? This is what's going on, okay? So, good afternoon. So what's your name? Andrea. How are you? Nice to meet you. How you doing? Good? Okay. So, Andrea here, I've never met before. I said, what's your name? He tells me his name. I reach my hand out and he reaches his hand out. We don't speak the same language. We come from different cultures, but I speak and I put my hand across and he shakes my hand. So he recognizes this symbol. This is what's called an appropriate response mechanism.
Както виждате, без да разбираме езика си, се запознахме с Андрея, само след това му потегнах ръката, и като предизвиках съответната правилна реакция.
When I make a Bowen move, in a similar way, I give an input to the body. I don't give a big input, but I give an input. I create a disturbance.
По същия начин, когато се изпълнява техниката Bowen, аз внасям някакво количество енергия в тялото, толкова колкото да го провокирам. Не голямо количество, но достатъчно.
Let's play with this. Can I walk in front of this without it squealing at me? Let's see what happens amongst the public. Can I play with you a minute? What's your name? Radi. Okay. So I'm just going to make a little move on your arm, okay? And so oh, sorry. Let me see the movement. Okay. Now, was that painful?
No.
Not painful. Was it massage?